Well, Wimbledon is ramping up towards its second week, and day 6 gave us a wild day of action. Australia's singles hopes are still alive through Alex de Minaur, but the women's draw has been blown absolutely wide open. The bottom half is there for the taking. Iga Swiatek gone, Elena Rybakina gone, Amanda Anisimova gone, while Alex Eala continues to make history for the Philippines. On the men's side, the men's seeds mostly held firm, but it was not drama-free. Caboli had to come back from nowhere. Bublik and Tiafoe went the distance. Dimitrov and Berrettini put on a grass court thriller, while Arthur Ferry kept the British crowd dreaming of what may be to come. So let's recap day 6 and then look ahead to day 7. It's going to be a monster day at Wimbledon as the 4th round gets started. But before we get into it, make sure you're already subscribed to the channel. Leave us a like on the video and jump into the comments and let us know who are you backing to make a dream run through to the quarters and semis from here. We started, as we have done each day, with Aussie Watch. Alex de Minaur overcame a few bumps, but he's safely into the second week, and Australia's singles hopes are still alive, if only just the one man holding them. The Demon dropped a set for the first time in this Wimbledon campaign, but still had enough control and composure to get past the US's Zachary Savita in 4 sets, 6-2, 5-7, 6-2, 6-4. Wasn't completely smooth. Savita changed the rhythm, got more aggressive through the second set, and found some success against de Minaur. He forced de Minaur to adjust, but the Demon did just that. That's what second week players do. They problem solve mid-match. They stay calm. They find the next gear, and de Minaur did. The numbers tell the story. De Minaur broke serve 8 times and won 70% of his second serve return points. It's a very Demon-style stat. Pressure, pressure, pressure until your opponent cracks. The win also sends him into the Wimbledon 4th round for the 3rd straight year. He now gets 9th seed Flavio Caboli, which is going to be a tough one, who came through a 4-hour 5-setter against Karen Khachanov. The prize is big from that one, though, into the quarterfinals berth and what would be another major step forward in de Minaur's Grand Slam story. So for the Demon, this is an opportunity, but certainly far from a free pass up against Caboli, and we'll talk more about that in the coming days. Let's switch tack over to the women's day 6 recap, and it was a brutal day for women's seeds with 4 of the top 10 seeds all bowing out. Second seed Elena Rybakina was ousted by 25th seed Elisa Mertens, with the 2022 Wimbledon champion going down 7-6, 6-1. That result also means that regardless of what happens from here, Aryna Sabalenka will remain world number 1 at the end of Wimbledon. Mertens has now reached the Wimbledon last 16 for the 4th time, but this was only her second win over Rybakina in 9 meetings. The biggest shock, though, was defending champion Iga Swiatek, taken out by Alex Eala, the 29th seed, producing a fearless 7-6, 6-2 win. Eala had already made history by becoming the first Filipino player to reach the 3rd round of a Grand Slam. Now she's gone one better, becoming the first Filipino to get through to the last 16, the 4th round of a major. The key was the first set tiebreak. Once Eala clutched that, she accelerated. She didn't just hang around and hope Swiatek dipped. She took control, went after the match, backed her patterns, and closed it out like a player who believes she belongs at this level. She now gets a matchup with Jasmine Paolini in the last 16. Another one who bowed out was 6th seed Amanda Anisimova. She went down in 3 sets to countrywoman Madison Keys. Keys had to call on all of her experience, coming from a set down to win against the 6th seed, 3-6, 6-2, 6-3. It's also a special one for Keys as well. Her first ever centre court appearance at Wimbledon, and she sealed it with a bang and the W. Elsewhere, there was better news for seeds like Linda Noskova, Jasmine Paolini, Marta Kostyuk, and Marie Buzkova. They all booked their way into the final 16. Noskova had to survive a real test against Sorana Sestaya, winning 2-6, 6-3, 7-6. Paolini was much more comfortable getting past Maria Sakkari, while Kostyuk beat Emma Navarro in 3. Qualifier Ashlyn Kruger completed the set for the day, eliminating Daria Sneager to become the only women's qualifier left in the 4th round. This means the women's draw, certainly in that bottom half, has gone from stacked to wide open in the space of a single day. On the men's side, it was much more straightforward. Alexander Zverev continued his march into week 2. The second seed took care of American Marcus Giron in straight sets, 6-2, 7-6, 6-4. Taylor Fritz, well, he had it a little tougher, the 6th seed up against Lorenzo Sonego. He dropped the opening set, then steadied to win in 4. 4-6, 6-3, 6-4, 7-6. And keeps last year's semi-finalists alive and moving forward into the 4th round. Flavio Caboli, the 9th seed, produced one of the recoveries of the day to book a 4th round clash with Alex de Minaur. He lost the opening set 6-love to Karen Khachanov, but somehow flipped the script, coming through love 6, 7-6, 6-7, 6-2, 6-2 in just on 4 hours. As I said, that'll set up a 4th round clash with Alex de Minaur. Alexander Bublik made it a perfect day for the top 10 seeds on the men's side. The last match to complete the day, he eliminated 17th seed Francis Tiafoe in 5 sets, 4-6, 7-6, 7-6, 4-6, 6-2. That statement at the end is exactly what he needed. With Bublik, it's exactly what you would expect. Chaos, shot-making, serving, disruption, and enough madness to make the match uncomfortable and unpredictable from start to finish. We had expected him to lean really heavily on his serve, but he's already beyond 80 aces for the tournament. He's really built that as a weapon for his game, but that unpredictability and chaos is what got him across the line. Yuri Lehechka also booked his ticket to the 4th round, overcoming Jean Mounard in almost 3 hours. Lehechka didn't have it all his own way, but he was too strong in the end, taking in 4 sets, 6-4, 6-4, 4-6, 6-4. He'll now face Alexander Zverev in the last 16. And then came the grass court theatre on centre court. Grigor Dimitrov up against Matteo Berrettini. Dimitrov had to survive the comeback after he got on top early. Berrettini dragged it to a 5th set. Dimitrov eventually closing it out 6-3, 6-4, 3-6, 5-7, 6-3 to advance to the 4th round. It's a proper Wimbledon stoush. Quality, momentum swings, and 2 players who know exactly how to play on this surface. And what a clash it was. It was fitting of its centre court billing to absolute guns of the grass court game going toe-to-toe and giving us a 5-set thriller. And finally, British wildcard Arthur Ferry gives the crowd a moment and some hope as he heads into the last 16. He outlasted Zizou Bergs in a 5-setter, which is absolutely something to put in the bank, winning 2-6, 7-5, 2-6, 7-6, 7-6. He had to take the 4th and 5th set tie breaks, fight back from 2 sets to 1 down, and ride the emotion of the crowd all the way to a career-defining 4th round berth, his best at a major. He'll now get Grigor Dimitrov for a spot in the quarterfinals. It's not every day as a wild card you get offered an unseeded opponent, despite it being the experience of Grigor Dimitrov for a spot in the quarterfinals. And that's why Wimbledon is Wimbledon. What an absolute thrilling day of men's action. That moves us forward to day 7, and it's a mouth-watering day of action with the 4th round getting underway. So let's have a look at all the 4th round matchups. Let's start on the women's side with Karolina Muchova up against Barbora Krejcikova, an all-Czech clash with plenty of Grand Slam pedigree. They both know each other well, and Krejcikova leads the head-to-head 2-1. The most recent meeting, though, not since 2018 in Prague. So not a lot of form you can take from that. This is a very different match now. Muchova, a much better player. She's the higher seed, the cleaner current form line, and one of the most complete players left in the draw. She's got that rare ability to play power, touch, slice, and net play all in the same game without looking rushed. Krejcikova, though, she brings major winning pedigree and grass court credibility. She's not just a baseliner. She can use variety and court craft to change the rhythm of a match. The key for Muchova is to keep the points on her terms. She does not need to overpower Krejcikova. She needs to move her, make her defend awkwardly, and stop her from settling into her clever patterns and doubles instincts. Krejcikova needs to make it messy, short slices, angles, forward movement, and scoreboard pressure. But if Muchova is moving well and serving cleanly, I think her composure and all-court game are going to be more than enough to get this one done. I think unless she has an absolutely off day, she should get this one done. And I've got her actually winning this in straight sets. It's been a great run to this point for Krejcikova, going back to former glories, but Muchova in 2. Next up, we go Jessica Pegula against Eva Jovic, 2 seeded Americans, all-American clash, and a really interesting contrast. Pegula leads the head-to-head 2-0, and both meetings came earlier this year. Pegula beat her in Dubai in straight set 6-4, 6-2. Then again in Charleston, but this one much tougher, 6-4, 5-7, 6-3 in the semi-final. And I think that the natural surfaces tend to help just a little more for Jovic. Jovic's been close enough to know she can trouble Pegula, but Pegula's been really strong on grass this season, and at Wimbledon she's looked efficient. She doesn't waste much motion. She takes the ball early, redirects it beautifully, and gives opponents very little free rhythm. Jovic's only 18, but she's already seeded at a major and has already had some serious results this week, beating Ekaterina Alexandra in 3 sets. That was her 3rd win over a top 20 player. She shows she's got the class to take on the best. This matchup's very much going to be about composure. Pegula will be cleaner, more experienced match manager you'd expect. Jovic has a youthful upside and naivete of just heading in with no expectations. She's also got enough ball striking to hit through patches of the match. But over 3 sets, Pegula's ability to reset after momentum swings is huge. If Jovic gets hot, this could get very interesting, but staying hot against someone of Pegula's composure and class over 3 sets is a very different question. I think Pegula will take it deep. I think Jovic can certainly claim one of the first 2 sets, but I think Pegula seals it in the 3rd. Next up, one of the best women's matches of the day, Coco Gauff versus Belinda Bencic. Gauff leads the head-to-head 5-2. including their most recent meeting in Miami this year, where Gauff won 6-3, 1-6, 6-3 in a classic Coco-Gauff match where she just had that blip of the second set, reset, and came home. This will be their first meeting on grass. Bencic, though, a very good grass quarter. We know she was a Wimbledon semi-finalist last year, and that matters. She's certainly comfortable on the surface. She'll take the ball early, and she can redirect her pace beautifully. Gauff has had to work hard to get here in classic Coco fashion. She needed 3 sets against Claire Liu, 6-3, 6-7, 6-2. She's openly spoken about wanting to be more aggressive with her serve heading into this match. The key is Gauff's serve and forehand under pressure. If she can serve well and get the first strike, she can take control and absolutely dominate. If the serve gets shaky, Bencic is exactly the type of player who'll step in, redirect, and take the advantage and make her uncomfortable. Bencic wants to take time away and keep Gauff from turning points into pure athletic exchanges. Gauff will want to stretch the court and use her legs. She'll want to make the match physical. This feels like a 3-setter because both players have obvious ways to hurt each other. I just think the class of Gauff is a little bit higher of a ceiling, so I'm going to go Coco in 3 sets. And last but not least, on the women's side is the number 1 seed up against the number 14 seed, Aryna Sabalenka versus Naomi Osaka, Power Game Central. This will be the headline women's match of Day 7. Sabalenka does lead the head-to-head 3-1. This is already their 4th meeting of 2026. Osaka won their first meeting years ago at the US Open. But Sabalenka's taken control of the rivalry since, with wins this year at Indian Wells, Madrid, and Roland Garros. This will be their first meeting on grass, notably. Osaka has been excellent this week. She blew past Daria Kasatkina in just over an hour, 6-1, 6-3, and has got through to the Wimbledon 4th round for the first time in her career. Sabalenka, meanwhile, came through a dangerous test against Jelena Ostapenko in just over 90 minutes in straight sets. And the stat that stands out from that match, Sabalenka hit 19 winners and just 6 unforced errors, which is exactly the kind of controlled power she'll need against Osaka. This match is first strike tennis everywhere. Osaka wants serve +1. Sabalenka wants serve +1. Both will want to go after any second serves or errant shots. Both can take the racket out of your hand if they get a clean ball in the middle of the court. The difference might be the movement and the problem solving. Sabalenka's certainly got more variety and defensive stability to her game, while Osaka is still at her most dangerous when the match is on her racket. If Osaka serves lights out, this will go deep and she could well get the upset. But Sabalenka's current level and match toughness give her the edge. For mine, I think this goes the distance, and I'm going to go Aryna Sabalenka to snatch this one in a 3rd set tight one. We move on to the men's now, and we start with the world number 1, Jannik Sinner. He comes up against Japanese qualifier Shintaro Mochizuki. At Wimbledon, you still have to play the match despite it being world number 1 against 150th in the world qualifier. Sinner and Mochizuki have never played before, and this is the first time that Mochizuki's gone anywhere near this at a major. He's already made a huge statement, knocking out Rafael Hodar. He's also a former Wimbledon boys champion, won the junior title in 2019, so he's got a grass court feel. Sinner's tournament's built nicely, had to survive a 5-set opener, then had 2 tight tie-break sets in round 2, but his 3rd round win over Jensen Brooksby much cleaner, 6-4, 6-3, 6-4. Mochizuki's going to need to find some variety and then some here. He can't beat Sinner by playing straight-up baseline patterns for 3 sets. He's going to need slices, changes of directions, short balls and net rushes, just anything to stop Jannik Sinner settling in and getting on top. But I just don't see how that plays out. Mochizuki's had a wonderful run, but I see it coming to an end here. Sinner's weight of shot, movement, and return pressure will be far too much, even if he's only at about 80%. I've got Sinner taking this one in straight sets. Next up at 7th seed, Novak Djokovic up against Roman Safiullin. The Russian is a fascinating match for Djokovic because the head-to-head certainly heavily one-sided. Djokovic 3-0. Safullin's never taken a set from Djokovic in those meetings. But Safiullin arrives here with a proper story. He came through qualifying, stunned João Fonseca in straight sets 3-3 and 3 to book his place in the 4th round. And after a serious hip injury interrupted his 2025 season, this is a massive return to relevance, and he might just feel like he's playing with house money. Djokovic had to work much harder in his last match to get past Arthur Rinderknecht. It took him 4 sets. The match had some real danger in it. When he dropped that 3rd set 6-1, it looked nervy. Rinderknecht hit more aces and more winners, but Djokovic did what Djokovic does. Found the moment, survived the pressure, and turned up clutch. This match gives Djokovic an opportunity to go past Roger Federer as the most wins ever at Wimbledon. He'll go to 106 if he gets it done. Matchup here is very much about whether Safiullin can make Djokovic uncomfortable early. He has to serve big, he has to hit through the court, and he has to avoid letting Djokovic settle. Once Djokovic starts to read his patterns, it usually gets very difficult very quickly. Safiullin has had a brilliant run to this point, but Djokovic should have too much control. Unless he's hampered or carrying a little bit of injury, I think Djokovic is far too clean here and will get this done again in straight sets as he's done each time previously he has come up against Safiullin. Next up, this could be our men's match of the day. The 3rd seed Felix Auger Aliassime up against the 21st seed Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. FAA leads the head-to-head 4-1. but the last meeting went the other way. Davidovich Fokina came from 2 sets down to beat him at last year's Australian Open. This is the first time the two have gone head-to-head on grass, and Auger Aliassime has been dominant through the first 3 rounds. He's not dropped a set. His serve has been booming. He's racked up 40 aces already. That tells you that his serve is absolutely travelling, and on grass, that is a foundation you can build everything on. Davidovich Fokina, though, he's on a serious grass court run. He came into Wimbledon off winning his first ATP title in Mallorca. He's now on a 7-match winning streak on grass. The contrast is brilliant. FAA brings the big serve, the clean power, and the ability to shorten points in an instant. Davidovich Fokina will bring movement, variety, touch, chaos, and problem-solving, and the ability just to find a way to hit one more shot. If FAA serves well, he'll keep the match on his racket and could blast Davidovich Fokina out of the tournament. If Alejandro can get into the return games and start making FAA play some uncomfortable points, then this could become a grind very quickly. This feels like it could go 5 sets because both players have clear weapons and very contrasting styles. I've got Felix Aliassime getting behind that booming serve and clutching it out in the 5th set. Last one, 2 non-seeded players go head-to-head for an opportunity into the quarterfinals. Former top 10 player Hubert Hurkacz comes up against Jan-Lennard Struff. Jan-Lennard Struff's had wonderful form getting through to here. This is a proper grass court danger match. They're tied 2-2 in their head-to-head, and Struff won their only previous meeting on grass at Stuttgart. That immediately makes this interesting. Hurkacz has the bigger serve, the better Wimbledon profile and history, but Struff's not just hanging around. He's taken out 2 seeds already with Leonard Tien and Daniel Medvedev. The Medvedev win was especially strong in straight sets, 7-6, 7-6, 7-5, and Struff held his nerve in all 3 tight sets against the higher-ranked player, the former world number 1. Hurkacz also came through a big one, knocking out Tommy Paul in 4 sets after dropping the opener. He fought back to win at 4-6, 7-6, 7-5, 6-2. This matchup is serve, return, and tie-break nerve. Hurkacz wants cheap points, first serves, and short rallies, and Struff will want to bully the second serve, step inside the baseline, and make Hurkacz feel pressure in games he expects to hold comfortably. If Hurkacz serves very well, he's almost impossible to break on grass. If Struff keeps sets tight, he's already shown this week he can win the clutch points. For me, I think the serve of Hurkacz and his experience on grass will be a little bit too much. I've got him taking this out in 4 sets. Well, day 7, it's going to give us everything. We've got Alex de Minaur through, waiting for Flavio Cobolli. We now see Sabalenka up against Osaka. Sinner and Djokovic are both back on court, and Felix Auger Aliassime against Davidovich Fokina might just be the one that quietly steals the show. Day 6 blew the women's draw wide open. Day 7 might start telling us who's ready to walk through the gap and take their opportunity. That's your Wimbledon Daily Dose for another day. Like the video, make sure to hit subscribe on the channel and jump into the comments and let us know who do you see making it through as a shock on day 7. We'll be back tomorrow to break it all down from SW19. Until then, a big thank you to you for tuning into your home of the Black and White of Sports.